residents of Holland Bukit-Timah GRC. Politics is about sincere service and sincere action. At the last rally, I shared heart to heart why it is a priority of mine to visit families in their homes. 10,800 home visits to HDB homes, to private apartments and landed homes over the past 5 years. Why? Because we care. We care for you more than an expression of words can capture. To talk is easy, very easy. Action, much harder. Each home visit is important, meaningful, precious. Moments are shared, and an understanding of the family is forged. I think you know me, what I stand for, how I have worked hard for you, and how I represent you in Parliament and serve you, your families, your children in our constituency. My teammates share these values. Our values, beliefs, ideals are met with action. At the last rally, I shared one example of a grandmother, a constituent who I serve, who was in her 60s and single-handedly raising her grandson because her own daughter was in prison due to drugs. We partnered her through difficulties and she overcame. I shared this at the last rally because it reflected why we do what we do for the residents we serve. It is one of many, many examples. Tonight, I would like to share another example, another life partnered. 4 years ago, just after the last election, I was visiting Ulu Pandan, the constituency I serve, and I met a young man. After exchanging pleasantries, I sensed he was needing more encouragement, more assurance. We sat down and talked. He shared with me how his father had racked up huge gambling debts and how his father had just upped and left home one day. His mother's life collapsed, his younger brother was at a loss, and he himself carrying a heavy burden of responsibility when only a teenager. He opened up more. He said money was tight and his own world heavy to bear. I said, hang in there, we will step in. We did so with financial assistance, but more importantly, with a sense of partnership and encouragement for him. He knew, and knew well, a community was behind him. He would share about how difficult it was to reconcile within himself that his situation was born out of his father's gambling addiction. Very difficult to reconcile for a teenager. But slowly his angst was channeled into a deep determination to overcome. He changed. I saw it in him. We kept in touch during his national service, regularly meeting in the constituency. We were genuinely interested in his life, how he was faring. One day I got a call in my law office from him. I had given him my number because I wanted him to know that there was someone he could speak to should it get too tough. This time, his voice was chirpy, hopeful. He had received his A-level results and received straight A's. I was overjoyed over the phone. I remember being overjoyed over that phone call. He too. He was thrilled. What next, I said. He said he dreamed of pursuing engineering and was applying to universities he read about in his childhood days. I said, go for it. Some months later, he called and said he got accepted into a top engineering faculty in Europe. It was a dream come true, but one stumbling block finance. No finance. I said, hang in there, keep that dream alive. Let's print out the list of scholarships available and talk through which ones you can apply for. He listed 10, asked if I would be his referee. I said, yes, certainly, count on me. You personify overcoming adversity. I will be your referee. His ability to overcome adversity shone through. One stat board said, yes, we give you a scholarship. Why? Because that young man embodied, personified overcoming adversity, selling cakes after school hours to make ends meet. He is now pursuing engineering, his dream, in a university he read of in his childhood. That is grit, determination, and perseverance. That is being Singaporean. We are in close touch, and he is passing it on in our constituency, passing it on by mentoring younger ones in Ulu Pandan, in Holland Bukit Timah GRC, and inspiring them. What he says, he walks the talk. I have been through it, he says to them who need the encouragement, so can you. He is on his feet, his mother is on her feet, his brother is standing tall. This is why we do what we do. Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, Miss Sim Ann, Mr. Liang Eng Hua. Partnership, service, action. Politics is about lives, not talk. It's about lives. But partnering the vulnerable does not stop at the work we do in the constituency. It doesn't stop at the work that I do in the constituency, nor any of my 3 teammates. It doesn't just stop at the constituency, though constituency work is extremely important. Helping the vulnerable has a place, a rightful place and significant place in Parliament. I shared at the last rally up north in Bukit Panjang, and now I share down south here, that it is this strong core belief to partner the vulnerable that drove me to argue for, initiate the Prevention of Human Trafficking Private Members Bill. I shared at the last rally that after 10 interagency meetings were held, 6 public consultations, engaging with hundreds of participants, the Prevention of Human Trafficking Bill gained unanimous support of the MPs present in the House because they were convinced after hours of debate of its ethos, its value system, its values statement. It being a private member's bill, my focus was singular, to partner the vulnerable and have them overcome. I could not have done it without you, the residents of Holland Bukit Timah, who encouraged me through the process, and each one of my teammates from Holland Bukit Timah, who stayed late into the night in Parliament that November 2014 to vote yes in favor of that bill. Yes! 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 Friends, it is about partnership, service, action. Tonight, I would like to share another example of how I have argued in Parliament for compassion and care to be shown to the vulnerable, often unseen parts of our community. I have raised how we must accord care and concern to women, to ladies who are abused domestically. My position in Parliament translated into working very closely with a volunteer group of committed women and men who wanted to provide shelter to teenage girls who had been physically and emotionally abused. Because of the positions I had taken in Parliament on this, it was a natural partnership. We worked closely together on the ground. I was struck by their commitment not only to shelter the girls, but to rehabilitate them. We worked together to convince MSF and SLA, and I dare say with support from my colleagues in Cabinet, to provide a black and white bungalow within the constituency to home the shelter at a highly discounted rent. They do marvelous work for the voiceless. I have met the girls who have graduated from the rehabilitation program. They are full of hope, optimism, and go-getting spirit. A complete turnaround. Constituency leads into parliament, leads into advocacy, leads into results. For who? For Singapore. For whom? For Singaporeans. Partnership, service, action. My friends, talk is very easy. Action, commitment, day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out. That is a lot more difficult. But that is what politics is about, and must be about, and must continue to be about. Singular focus to uplift, overcome, partner, and to have the residents we serve stand tall again. For difficulties do not discriminate. They come to all of us. And we must partner, each of the residents we serve, to stand tall again. It comes with a deep sense of duty toward and commitment to the residents we serve. And these too are the values of my teammates, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, Ms. Siman, Mr. Liang Eng Hua. I would like now to move on to a topic close to my heart, the defense of our nation. I've written about it in the Straits Times at length, debated it in Parliament. It is not an academic topic for me. I shared at the last rally that I grew up in a military family. My father signed on in 1965 as an officer when he was 18, chose not to go into medicine. He said, we need to defend this country. No university degree, he entered at 18. Even before NS was formalized, was selected to train as a fighter pilot, helped set up squadrons in the Singapore Armed Forces. He flew in the first Black Knights team. Defense is in my blood, as it is in your blood, as it is in the blood of your wives and your children who support what you do when you wear green, blue, and navy whites, or in the home team. With the Black Knights flying in the early 70s, it made crowds roar, but sent strong signals elsewhere. Today we have the Black Knights and all our servicemen in the SAF pushing that same envelope. It was a message that rang loud and clear when my parents affixed the epaulets on my shoulders during national service and during all the ICTs that I did thereafter, and all the ICTs I'm sure you did too. SDP's proposal to almost halve the defense budget will ambush Singapore's sovereignty. I say this sincerely, straight, eye to my residents. I tell you sincerely, honestly, straight face, no political ambition. This will ambush Singapore's sovereignty. I said that at the last rally. They say cut the defense budget to half of what it is today over 3 to 5 years. In this environment, my friends, in this geopolitical environment, 2015, that is dangerous, opportunistic. But they know they have to cut from somewhere to fund their extreme policies. So easy formula, take from defense, dangerous, dangerous. What's their rationale? They put us in the basket of small developed countries and suggest we cut defense because we too are a small developed country. Small, everyone at this rally, everyone watching it on YouTube know, yes, we are small. But what are these small developed countries they cite, they compare us to? Switzerland, Norway, Finland. My friends, these countries are nestled in the comfort and bosom of Europe. Friends, look at our backyard. Look at our neighborhood. SDP's tax and spend extreme policies need major financing. They say cut from defense. Our peace and sovereignty exist because we have a potent SAF. SDP, I say this to you from my heart. I'm not blinking. I say to you straight, and I say this in all earnestness. Don't make the mistake of saying otherwise from a political soapbox. You cut defense by half, you jeopardize Singapore's sovereignty. Don't jeopardize our sovereignty. I grew up on Changi Air Base with the sounds of jets on their final runs, their final approaches and takeoffs. I said it before and I say it again. It is a sacred duty to keep Singapore safe. Don't ever jeopardize it. To do so, and I say it with a straight face, to do so would be irresponsible.
You are the Dark Knight! You are the Dark Knight! You are the Dark Knight! Oh! You are the Dark Knight!
One SDB candidate says that many of us hope that DPM Tharman would have a falling out with the Prime Minister. And he hopes will come out to lead Pakatan Rakyat Singapura. I ask, no, this is a serious topic. I ask the discerning voter watching here tonight, watching this on YouTube, do you think that seeking division in cabinet is a responsible desire? Is hoping for discord among cabinet a responsible thing to seek? Responsible for Singapore? Responsible for Singaporeans? Heart to heart, I tell you, it is a serious misjudgment to desire such discord. I have shared heart to heart with you tonight. That is me. What you see is what you get. My team is the same. Politics for me is a sacred duty. Please don't, SDP, please don't use the election as a political soapbox. To do so is to misunderstand the gravity of the duty we owe to Singaporeans. We owe to the residents we serve. It is a duty I take very, very seriously. Partnership, action, service. Vote for the PAP. Para penduduk GRC Holland Bukit Timah, terima kasih. Terima kasih kerana memberikan pasukan saya sokongan anda. Terima kasih. Penduduk GRC Holland Bukit Timah, kami telah mengunjungi beribu rumah di kawasan GRC ini untuk mendengar dan berkongsi bersama anda dalam masa yang sukar dan masa yang senang. Dengan rasa rendah hati, kami mengharapkan sokongan anda. Undilah PAP. Terima kasih. Siaseni. Vanakkam. Thank you.